Have you ever wished you could have lived in the shoes of a soldier on the front lines or a gangster in the shadows? Well, you can do it in games inspired by real-world occurrences. Video games like these put players in the shoes of historical figures and give them the feeling of being a part of the action. Hello and welcome to our channel. Today we're going to talk about games that are based on true events. So, let's begin. This third-person open-world shooter is based on real events from World War II and was developed by the now-defunct Pandemic Studios. During World War II, a lot happened. Players take control of Sean Devlin, an Irish race car mechanic who helps the resistance sabotage Nazi targets in German-occupied France. William Grover Williams, a half-French, half-English Grand Prix winner who escaped France when the war broke out, served as an inspiration for the character of Devlin in Pandemic. Subsequently, the British Special Operations Executive airdropped Grover Williams back into France to serve as a spy. This brave individual paid the ultimate price for his nation. Numerous historical occasions serve as inspiration for the Assassin's Creed games. However, Ubisoft dove headfirst into the chaos of the American Revolution with the third installment. Gameplay in Assassin's Creed 3 allows players to investigate real-world events from the time period of colonial America in the 18th century. Native American and other indigenous peoples of the Americas are also given significant focus in the game. In this action-adventure game, the world is accessible for players to discover at their own pace. The protagonist, Connor, is a colonial American assassin who plays an essential role in various pivotal moments of the American Revolution and Revolutionary War. As Connor's father, Haytham Kenway, and the series' protagonist, Desmond Miles, players take control of both characters in this stealth game. Throughout the game, Connor is a participant in pivotal historical moments such as the signing of the Declaration of Independence, the Boston Tea Party, Paul Revere's Ride, and the Boston Massacre. Assassin's Creed 3 is a brilliant reenactment of the Revolutionary War, from its exceptional narrative to its realistic sense of the colonial age. Most war-themed video games put players in the role of troops fighting to free territory from an enemy force. But in this Conflict of Mine, you play the victim, experiencing the aftermath of war for the very first time. The players take control of civilians in the city of Sarajevo, Bosnia, during the siege of the city. The game was produced by 11-Bit Studios. The goal of the game is to make it through the conflict unscathed and amass a useful arsenal of weapons and supplies. Due to the game's protagonist's lack of combat or survival training, the player will need to devise a strategic plan to ensure the protagonist's survival. In the game, you can take cover from the daytime attacks by hiding in a safe house. When the sun goes down, it's a good time to forage weapons to protect yourself while you travel through the war-torn landscape. In addition, players can talk to other survivors and choose whether to help, kill, or rob the non-playable characters. The hardships endured by the war's survivors are vividly depicted in This War of Mine. The survivors you begin with will meet different ends depending on your choices. Until a truce is called in the game, you need to make sure your health, hunger, and disposition all stay where they need to be. The protagonist of Replay Studios' stealth action game is a British spy named Violet Summer, who, during World War II, worked behind enemy lines to disrupt the Nazi war machine. The real-life saboteur Violet Sabo served as inspiration for the game. The actual Violet was taken prisoner by the Germans, tortured, and ultimately sent to the Ravensbrück detention camp, where she died. Don your detective caps and take a stroll through 1940s Los Angeles. Even though the events, characters, and setting of L.A. Noire are all made up, they are all based on Los Angeles in the 1940s. The year is 1947, and you play Cole Phelps, a decorated World War II warrior who returns home and immediately begins investigating high-profile crimes. Several actual 1940s-era crimes committed in Los Angeles were incorporated into the Rockstar Games series. Moreover, the 1947 setting of Los Angeles is represented by a number of real-world landmarks. Detective Cole Phelps, whom the player controls, solves crimes and moves up the ranks of the LAPD as a result. During the questioning of witnesses and suspects, non-player characters are available for interaction. Additionally, the open world allows players to roam about in quest of clues. In addition, there is a black and white option that gives the game an authentic historical vibe reminiscent of film noir. Valiant Hearts: The Great War, a puzzle-adventure game for Xbox, is set in World War I and tells the narrative of a number of characters who try to aid a soldier in his search for love. The game's historical parts are excellent and accurately portray the horrors of battle, but rather than focusing on the combat aspects, the game explores themes of love and community in the face of tragedy. Some war games are entertaining, but the vast majority boil the combat down to gunplay. There's nothing inherently wrong with this, but it is commendable that Valiant Hearts: The Great Battle makes an effort to rediscover the compassion hidden beneath the tragic tales of war. That Dragon Cancer, developed by Ryan and Amy Green, is an autobiographical game that follows their child's battle with cancer and represents a new direction in the genre of realistic video games. The touching homage to their son Joel and the roller coaster of emotions surrounding his care inspired the developers of the True Story video game. The doctors gave Joel 4 months to live, yet he ended up living up to 4 years after their prognosis. The player assumes the role of Ryan and Amy, Joel's parents, who have just learned that their 12-month-old son has cancer. Participants take part in this unfolding drama by interacting with the family and influencing their course of action as they deal with an unimaginable tragedy. The game takes a fictitious point of view and uses its 4 minigames to support the story's narration, while also providing a sense of exploration and entertainment. Players can guide Joel as he navigates space, avoiding cancer cells, or they can race a cart around the hospital hallways collecting medications. True mysteries, especially those that have remained unsolved for decades, are much more terrifying than any made-up phenomenon. Kholat is a survival horror game developed by IMGN Pro and based on the inexplicable deaths of a group of young Russian hikers in the Dyatlov Pass in February of 1959. Follows the protagonist, voiced by Sean Bean, as he retraces their route. No matter how many times professionals and amateurs try to solve the mystery of the Dyatlov Pass incident, named after one of the hikers, Igor Dyatlov, no one has ever been able to come up with a satisfactory explanation. Very rarely do seasoned hikers tear open their tent in the middle of the night, flee naked into the woods, and return with mysterious bone fractures, radiation poisoning, and a reddish-orange color. Skeptics argue that the group's deaths might be explained by hypothermia and the fact that they were forced to go out of the forest because of the risk of an avalanche. Kholat, released in 2015, takes a number of liberties in presenting a supernatural take on the strange events surrounding the tragic tale, but it does a good job of capturing the harrowing experience of being abandoned on a mountain and forced to fight for survival in the face of nature's cruelty. So that's all the time we had today, folks. Hope you enjoyed this video. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel and to hit the bell icon on your way out. See you all next time, folks.